Mayor Patrick Brown of Brampton, we're here discussing the new CAO, David Barrick. David Barrick comes to you now. He's the 7th CAO in the last decade for Brampton. What does he represent for the City Council?
Well, for the last year, we've been going through a selection process, and we've got a young, energetic City Council. And so we were doing our due diligence. We wanted to make sure we had a CAO that really gelled with this council, that is very action-orientated. We've got a young CAO who I think matches our enthusiasm. I want someone that we can message at 11 o'clock at night if there's a problem. I want someone who wants to work on the weekends just like we do. He has an impressive background. He has been elected multiple times in the Niagara region. He served on the bureaucracy side, so he's been in both camps, having understood what it's like to be in elected office and public service, but also how the civil service works. And we have high hopes for him. It's a time of change in Peel Region. We just welcomed a new chief of police. Similarly, young, enthusiastic, energetic, who came from Halton. We really want to see great things happen in Peel Region, in the city of Brampton, and so we're pretty excited about this new hire.
Barrick comes to the city of Brampton with a unified council, a council that's working together, and a mayor that's leading a unified council. How much more of an advantage does that give a CAO when he enters a city?
Well, let me say this. When it comes to a unity on council, it's critical. It's like a canoe. If you're all paddling in the same direction, you can achieve a lot. You can make a lot of headway. When you're divided, when you're arguing against each other, it's the residents that lose. One of the things I really appreciate about this Brampton Council is everyone signed on right from the beginning. Whatever happened in the past, bygones be bygones. We're Team Brampton now. And our loyalty isn't to whatever happened in previous elections. Our loyalty is to do a good job to the residents of the city. It's been a great first year, and we can't wait to do more.
Budget, budget, budget. That's what a lot of people have on their mind. And the CAO is very important in that cog in the wheel. When you talk about transportation, the potential of a university, and spending money on behalf of the people of Brampton, where does this gentleman sit?
Well, you brought up one of my pet peeves. There's been this, I guess, standard in municipal governance where every year you have to have a tax increase. Every year it's typical. You ask for 3%, 4%, 5%. That's not how a business works. And frankly, that's not how the average family can work. If you want more revenue, you just can't write a check for that. You have to look at every dollar that's spent in a family. We need to do the same thing at City Hall. And so this budget process is important. Last year, we became the only big city in Canada with a tax freeze, long overdue given the tax rates in Brampton. It was the first tax freeze in 19 years in our city. We've embarked upon several value for money audits looking at every aspect of City Hall. I want to thank Harkirat Singh, one of our councillors who brought this motion up right at the beginning of our council term, and Councillor Vicente, who's been working really hard on our budget committee. We need to scrutinize every dollar spent, because when we're approving our city budget, we need to think of that family that is struggling to make ends meet, that senior citizen on a fixed budget. And frankly, that's what I expect of our CEO. I want him to look at every department and make sure that we're having value for the taxpayer, that we're doing our best with every dollar that is sent to City Hall.
So as a chief administrative officer, David Barrick comes into a city that is going to be affected by downloading. You've got the federal government, you've got the provincial government. Final question, if you were to look at where you stand right now with these potential downloadings and the position of Brampton growing, how does David Barrick play into that plan of success for Brampton?
Well, I think the CEO, part of his job is to help council realize their goals. And one of our goals is to garner our fair share. And one argument that we've made over the last year, if you look at healthcare dollars, we're significantly below the per capita funding provincially. If you look at gun and gang funding, the notion that Toronto and Ottawa would get gun and gang funding, but Brampton wouldn't, is unconscionable. You look at transit funding. Thank you to Brampton Focus for helping host the debate we had, the federal election debate, where we looked at the differences between transit funding that went to Kitchener-Waterloo, Hamilton, Ottawa, compared to Peel Region. We know we deserve better. We know we can do better, and it's part of our job is to vocalize that, because sometimes in politics, the squeaky wheel is the one that gets attention, and we've had enough of being polite. We're going to stand up for our city. We're going to demand our fair share. Prime ministers and premiers come here all the time, and it's not just about a smile and a photo op. What we've really made a point of saying is we're going to have frank conversations with the leadership of this country and tell them what we expect. Because a resident in Brampton deserves the same per capita investment as a resident in Mississauga or Kitchener or Calgary or Edmonton or Halifax. We deserve the same services from the federal and provincial governments because we contribute the same taxes as well.
Mayor Patrick Brown, thank you for your time. You've been watching Brampton Focus. My name is Michael A. Charbon.